Welcome back, everyone. It is now time for Moves Technology Group to present. We have with us CEO Mikael Klingberg and Chief Product Officer Peter Klangsell. Well, a warm welcome to you guys, and please, the stage is yours.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Today we're here to tell you about something simple. Moves, the simple subscription for bikes, e-bikes and mopeds where everything is included. We want to remove the barrier of entry for everyone to change this sustainable and quickest way to commute in the central cities and the biggest cities. In this presentation, we will tell you why Moves is the winner within the micromobility segment. But first, a short introduction on Mikael and me.
Yes, my name is Mikael Klingberg, and I'm the CEO and founder together with Peter. I met Peter when I studied at KTH in Stockholm, and after my studies, I started to work in the telecom business, both for small startups as well as big companies like Vodafone within the telecom business. And after 10 years of experience from the telecom business, I decided to start my own company. And my idea was to use my experience from the telecom business in a more traditional business. And my choice fell on the scooter and bicycle industry. And my new personal objective was to facilitate the change how people are communicating in the cities.
My name is Peter Klangsell, and I'm founder together with Mikael. I also worked within the telecom and IT industry for 10 years as a product manager and a bid manager. And now here at Moves, I'm the research and development manager. As I commuted on two wheels all the time, so when changing the line of work, the decision was simple. Me and Mike were to change the way people commute. But what we should talk about today is a subscription service for light vehicles, which is fairly new in our segment, but not in other segments. We're in the phase where we have successfully launched a pilot and we're now ready to scale. We all know that micromobility is a huge market and it's growing very fast. But we also know that it would be even bigger if the decision to change would be simple and the way to commute would be simple to change to one of these light vehicles. To be clear, we're not talking about on-demand sharing like kick bikes or e-bikes that you see on the streets. We're talking about a personal subscription with a personal vehicle. Today, we are the market leaders in the traditional sales in the micromobility, but we see that the strongest growing segment is a subscription. Within the traditional sales, we have the köpenskooter.nu and elcykelvaruhuset.se. And to become the market leaders within these segments, it has required a lot. We have visited around 100 factories in Asia. We have today 5 assembled factories that we use. We have sold around 50,000 vehicles and designed 45 own different models. We have created market-leading brands in Sweden, for example, Drax, Vessla, Lifebike, Bautian, and we're also taking agencies from zero to market leaders like NIO. We were the first in Sweden to import actually e-bikes and also e-mopeds. And all this knowledge we have learned, we will now take into the subscription that we plan to roll out into Europe. Why? Because imagine you're sitting in your car in the queue or you're in the subway and you think, oh, maybe I should change the way I commute. But the decision is quite big because now the only way is to buy a vehicle and it's 20 to 40,000 Swedish krona you should put in. And we see also when the customer comes to our stores that they don't know if this is the right model for me. They don't know what service, if it's included or not, insurance, what it costs, what happens if something breaks down, etc. So the questions are many, but with Moves, a simple and for the end user quite inexpensive subscription, it's an easy decision to make to change the way they commute. For example, we have an e-bike, it's 495 SEK per month, normal bikes around 200 SEK per month. And we also know if they change the way they commute to this type of vehicle, they will stay. We asked 3,000 of our current users after 6 months that they had this vehicle, and 85% answered that they will never go back to the way they commuted before. Now we will show you a movie that will show you how simple this subscription can be. As you saw in the movie, it's a simple subscription where everything is included. Simplicity and premium is what our leading words when creating this service. Premiums in terms of the vehicles, the app, the butlers, and the showrooms. Simplicity where you can place an order or change vehicle or order service in your app. And it's an all-inclusive service.
And this is the light vehicles we are developing ourselves, which we are very, very proud about. All the bicycles you can see here will be launched later this year, and the scooter will be launched next year. And our vehicles are forming a our Moves vehicles form an extremely important part of the Moves business. And it is the attractive vehicles together with the subscription service that will drive our sales and be our success. And here we have a long experience from visiting many factories, and we have developed lots of factories, lots of vehicles, both bikes and scooters. And the key to success here, based on our experience, is that we need to understand the customer. And our Moves customers, they live in the cities and they use our vehicles every day. And then we have the target group. We should reach 50% of the European commuters with our vehicles. We have the brand. Our vehicles should have a unique identity. And we have the feeling about the vehicles. And the feeling should be that our vehicles should be well designed and a feeling of premium and quality. And last, and very importantly, environmental and sustainability. Our vehicles should have a long lifespan with high quality products, and it should require minimal service. And when we developed this communication or this commuting service, we thought about the everyday trips in Europe. And based on research, most trips are less than 8 kilometers. And our objective was that Moves should be the most sustainable and smoothest and quickest way of commuting. And with our objective of reaching 50% of the European commuters, we are now proud to say that Moves is the cheapest and quickest way of commuting.
Global trends are driving the Moves business model forward. McKinsey did a very big investigation, and they asked a lot of people, and 7 out of 10 see micromobility as their number one choice to commute in the big cities and preferable bikes. The environment is important for us, the user and the companies. For us, we build product that lasts, as Mikael said. We also service them so they last longer. The end user and the business want to be profiled as environmental friendly and take active decision towards this. When the environment and the climate is number one on the politicians' agenda, that creates incentives, and it also creates restrictions. So like for cars, for instance, in the bigger cities, in the centers, they are banned. Traffic lanes become bicycle lanes, car tolls and less parking places. And also the regulations that limits on-demand market, like kick bikes you see on the streets. Example, only in Stockholm, the last year they put in parking tickets on these type of vehicles and a yearly fees. And last week they limited the numbers that you're allowed to put on the streets. So like Voi, for instance, they went from 7,000 to 1,500 kick bikes in one day last week. So, and also you can see on the right-hand side of this slide, the subscription takeover in many industries. Example, the car industry, which was the first, that now private lease in Sweden is over 50% and took 10 years. Like Synsheim started on subscription based on glasses, and now just after 3 years, it's reached over 50%. Lynk & Company, they launched 1 year ago, and they have orders on 35,000 subscriptions. The market is huge, as you can see, and this is an example on the bike industry, and it's growing quite fast. But you can see in the orange part of this picture, that's the e-bikes, and the turnover on these are 3 times higher than a normal bike. So actually, it grows more in revenue. And if we take the same assumption as from the car industry and the glasses, so within 3 to 10 years, 50% of this market would be on subscription, and that would be equal to 15 billion euros per year.
And if we then look into the different target groups with moves, our focus when we launched the pilot of this service last year was consumers, but in a few months we received questions from, first of all, many last mile delivery companies that also were interested in this kind of service, and which might not be very strange because we have been very strong for a long time in this industry. For instance, if you travel through Stockholm today, you will find out that almost all drivers from Uber as well as from Foodora are using our Drex scooters in Stockholm when delivering the groceries or food to people. And after receiving all these requests from companies, this resulted in that we started several pilots. So now we have pilots with several moves delivery services to several companies, and it also resulted in that we started 2 development projects. So right now we are developing 2 vehicles specially made for delivery services.
Now the target for Moose is Europe, and we want to reach 200,000 subscription in 2027. And we're choosing the cities after the size of the city, the possibility to conduct credit checks on the end users, the habit to use subscriptions in the city, the infrastructure in terms of bicycle lanes. To summarize, so this slide is just to sum up that we have everything in place and are ready to expand. We have the IT, the logistics, and the best factories in place. We have sold 50,000 vehicles, created 45 vehicles. We have created market-leading brands. We have conducted over 100,000 services on these vehicles, so we know what it takes and how to build them to last long. And many different companies have raised a lot of money in this segment the last few years, but only a few have the experience and know-how we have.
And we now have a very strong team, except me and Peter. Everyone got experience from large corporates as well as from startups. We have Jonas Rundqvist, that is our design and brand guru, who is helping us to developing the service and the feeling and the brand and the design of the vehicles. And he has been part of developing several consumer brands like Vimla. We have also another Jonas Petersson, that helped us that is helping us with the IT. And he has been working for small and big corporates to develop their digital strategies as well their IT platforms. And we also have Tobias with long experience from being operation manager at several companies. He was part of he was part of developing Get Taxi, that is a competitor in London to Uber. And an important decision that we took after launching our service was to establish a new strong board to create the basis of the expansion of Moves. And we first have our chairman of the board, Göran Strandberg, who has experience from the car industry that has been under a big change during the last years. First with Holmgrens, which is a big dealer in Sweden, and now he's working with the Lincoln Company. And we also have Daniel Susanne, who has long experience from being an entrepreneur, and he has also been part of many well-known companies with high growth. And we also have Fredrik, who has long experience from the gaming industry, both as CFO and CEO. And finally, I want you to take a few things from today's meeting, and that is that the market of micromobility is very strong, and it's expected to grow a lot. And with Moves, we are making it possible for people to communicate in a more sustainable and healthy way. And we are, as Peter said, already the market leader in this business, and we have the experience to make this happen. And Moves will revolutionize the way people are commuting. As well, we will enable environmentally healthy cities. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I believe your unique selling points are quite clear. You just repeated them on the last slide here. I have a question about the bigger cities like Paris, Copenhagen, Stockholm, like you said, adding new rules and regulation on e-scooters and the likes of Voi and Lime. How will this affect you, do you believe?
It will actually not affect us at all, because our vehicles will not be placed on the streets like these on-demand services. And this means that with Moves, it's more about personal ownership via our subscription. And our customers, they will own their own vehicles via the subscription, and they will use them every day. And research is actually showing that this kind of service is much more optimal for increasing the usage of micromobility while preserving the cleaner cities. If you compare it for instance, the on-demand services that you referred to.
Okay, great. So there are studies. I really like that. And then speaking of studies, you did your own pilot study. What numbers, KPIs, or data in that is giving you the most confidence that this is really something that there's a market for?
You can say that the background to our pilot was to understand more about the customers. And we can see when we asked all our customers, both the customers that we have in stock, as well as the customer that cancelled by different reasons the service, that all are really happy about the service, as well as the ones that cancelled the services. And 43% of the customers that left our service are telling us that they will come back to us after the winter. So I think we got confirmation of most of the assumptions that we had. Another one was that the best way of converting new customers is using the social media.
Oh, I see. Okay. So assuming that it sounds like you're going to have quite a low churn, and that means that even though you'll have to spend money, obviously, to get new users to market your service, the low churn will probably make it very profitable going forward. Okay, great. So just a final question. If you would highlight one or two specific things that the investors can look forward to from hearing from your company in the next 12 months or so, what would you pick?
I think it's first of all the custom-made bicycles developed by ourselves, as we will launch both electric and non-electric, as well as the expansion of our service outside Sweden during this year.
Okay, we're looking very much forward to that. Thank you very much and good luck.